Fill your mind with love and watch miracles begin to quietly unfold in places you thought were long forgotten. Take a breath with me, my dear. Just a slow, gentle inhale and a soft, unforced exhale. There's nothing you need to fix right now, nothing you need to chase. In this moment, you are simply here, and that is enough. I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, not with your mind, but with your heart. How long have you been carrying thoughts that feel heavy? Thoughts that whisper doubt, that replay pain, that quietly convince you that something is missing or that something is wrong with you. You don't have to say it out loud. I can feel it in you. Because somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, your mind became a place of tension instead of a place of peace. It became a place where you try to solve everything, control everything, predict everything, and yet no matter how hard you try, it still feels like something isn't flowing the way it should. And that can be exhausting, can't it? So just pause here with me, breathe again, and let me remind you of something very simple, but very powerful. Your mind is not just a thinking machine. It is a garden. And every thought you repeat, every emotion you entertain, every story you tell yourself is a seed. Now, sweetheart, let me gently ask you, what kind of seeds have you been planting lately? Have they been seeds of fear, of what if it doesn't work, of what if I'm not enough, of why hasn't it happened yet? Or have they been seeds of love, of trust, of quiet knowing that something beautiful is already on its way to you? You see, most people are trying to change their lives while still planting the same seeds every day. They water worry, they nurture doubt, and then they wonder why peace never grows. But life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you consistently feel. And I know that might feel uncomfortable to hear, but stay with me, because this is where everything begins to shift. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. And you are certainly not broken. What you are experiencing right now is not a punishment. It is a reflection of the inner atmosphere you've been living in. Not consciously, not intentionally, but gently, gradually, over time. And this is where the miracle begins, not outside of you, but within you. Because the moment you begin to fill your mind with love, real love, not forced positivity, not fake smiles, but genuine, soft, compassionate love, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your inner world changes its temperature. And when your inner world changes, your outer world cannot remain the same. It's like the sun slowly rising after a long, cold night. The ground doesn't argue with the light. It simply responds. It softens. It opens. It allows new life to emerge. That's what love does inside you. It softens the tension you didn't even realize you were holding. It quiets the urgency. It dissolves the constant need to figure everything out. And in that softened state, in that open space, something new begins to grow. But here's where many people misunderstand this. They think love is something they receive after life gets better, after the breakthrough, after the relationship, after the money, after the healing. But that's not how it works, my dear. Love is not the reward. Love is the cause. It is the beginning, not the ending. And I know part of you might be saying, but how can I feel love when things are uncertain, when things haven't happened yet, when I'm still waiting? That's a very honest question. So let me ask you something in return. What if the waiting isn't empty? What if this space you're in right now is not a delay, but a preparation? Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. No movement, no progress, just darkness. But beneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots are forming. Strength is building. Life is quietly organizing itself. And if you were to dig that seed up too early, just to check if it's growing, you would interrupt the very process meant to bring it to life. That's what happens when we fill our minds with fear instead of love. We keep digging up our progress with doubt. We keep interrupting our own unfolding. But when you choose love, even gently, even imperfectly, you are allowing the process to continue, undisturbed. You are trusting the unseen. And trust, my dear, is one of the purest forms of love. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, quiet, unwavering. Now take another breath with me. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine releasing the need to rush your life just for this moment. You don't have to know how everything will happen. You don't have to force clarity. You don't have to chase what is already being drawn toward you. Because here's something most people never realize. What you are seeking is also seeking a version of you that feels safe to receive it. And that version of you is not stressed, not anxious, not doubting every step. That version of you is grounded, open, and filled with a quiet kind of love. Not because everything is perfect, but because you have decided to create peace within yourself, regardless of what's happening outside. That is power. Not control, but alignment. And when you begin to live from that space, even just a little, life starts to rearrange itself in ways that feel almost magical. Opportunities appear. Conversations shift. Doors open that you didn't even know existed, not because you forced them, but because you became a match for them. This is what people call miracles. But they're not random. They are responses. Responses to the energy you consistently hold. So, let me gently guide you here. What if, starting today, you stopped asking, when will it happen? And instead, you softly asked, who am I becoming while I wait? Can you feel the difference in that question? One comes from lack, the other comes from growth. One tightens your body, the other expands it. And expansion is where love lives. So as you sit here, breathing slowly, I want you to consider this. Who are you becoming in this moment? Are you becoming someone who trusts or someone who fears? Someone who nurtures their inner world or someone who constantly battles it? There is no judgment here, only awareness. Because awareness is the first step toward change. And change, real change, doesn't happen through force. It happens through gentleness, through small, consistent shifts, through choosing love again and again, even when it feels unfamiliar, especially when it feels unfamiliar, because that unfamiliar feeling is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something new is being created. Fill your mind with love, not by forcing yourself to feel something you don't, but by gently allowing space for something softer to enter. Take another slow breath with me, sweetheart, and this time, don't try to change anything inside you. Don't try to fix your thoughts. Don't try to silence your emotions. Just notice them as they are, because love, real love, does not begin with control. It begins with acceptance. You see, many people misunderstand this journey. They believe that filling their mind with love means pushing away anything that feels uncomfortable, hiding from sadness, resisting fear, pretending everything is okay. But that's not love. That's avoidance. And avoidance creates tension. Love, on the other hand, creates space. It says, I see you, even the messy parts, even the tired parts, even the parts that don't feel healed yet, and I am not turning away from you. Can you feel the difference in that? One tightens, the other softens. So instead of trying to replace every negative thought with a perfect one, I want you to try something gentler. When a heavy thought appears, don't fight it. Just pause, breathe, and quietly say within yourself, I am allowed to feel this, and I choose to meet it with love. Not tomorrow, not when everything is better, right now, because the truth is, your mind has been trying to protect you all along. Every worry, every doubt, every overthinking pattern has been your mind's way of trying to keep you safe. It may not feel helpful, but it is not your enemy. And the moment you stop treating it like something that needs to be defeated and instead meet it with compassion, something shifts. The noise begins to soften. The intensity begins to dissolve. And in that space, love has room to enter. This is how you begin filling your mind with love, my dear, not by force, but by presence. Now let me take you a little deeper. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts seem to repeat themselves? The same worries, the same fears, the same what-ifs playing on a loop. It can feel like you're stuck inside your own mind sometimes. Like no matter how much you try to think differently, you keep returning to the same patterns. That's not because you're weak. It's because your mind is conditioned. Conditioned by past experiences, by moments that hurt, by times when things didn't go the way you hoped. And your mind, trying to protect you, says, let's not feel that again. Let's stay alert. Let's stay prepared. But here's the quiet truth. Staying in that state of constant alertness also keeps you closed. Closed to joy, closed to ease, closed to the very miracles you've been hoping for. Because love cannot fully enter a space that is guarded by fear. So the work is not to force yourself to think positive. The work is to gently teach your mind that it is safe to relax, safe to open, safe to receive. And you do this not through big dramatic changes, but through small, consistent moments of awareness. Moments like this. Right now, as you listen, as you breathe, as you begin to notice that you don't have to believe every thought that passes through your mind, you can observe it. You can soften around it. You can choose something different. And that choice, no matter how small, is powerful. Because every time you choose love over fear, even for a second, you are rewiring something within you. You are creating a new pathway, a new pattern, a new way of being. And over time, those small choices begin to add up. They begin to shape your emotional state. And your emotional state becomes the lens through which you experience your life. This is where the quiet miracle begins. Because when your inner state shifts, your reality begins to reflect that shift back to you. Not instantly, not all at once, but gradually, naturally, like a ripple moving across still water. Now let me ask you something gently. What would it feel like if your mind became a place you felt safe in? Not perfect, not always quiet, but safe. A place where your thoughts didn't attack you, where your emotions didn't overwhelm you, where you could simply be without constantly trying to escape yourself. Can you imagine that? Because that is what happens when you begin to fill your mind with love. It becomes a place of refuge instead of resistance. And from that place, everything changes. The way you speak to yourself changes. The way you respond to life changes. Even the way others respond to you begins to shift, because energy is felt even when it's not spoken. And when you carry a calm, open, loving energy within you, people feel it. Opportunities feel it. Life responds to it. But I want you to understand something very important. This is not about becoming someone else. This is about returning to who you already are, beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, beneath the layers of fear. You were not born doubting yourself. You were not born overthinking every step. You were not born feeling unworthy. Those patterns were learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. Gently, patiently, with love. So now, let's take a moment together. I want you to close your eyes, if you can, and bring your attention inward. Notice your breath, slow, steady. And as you breathe, I want you to silently repeat these words within yourself. Not rushed, not forced, just softly, like a whisper. I am safe to soften. Take a breath. I am safe to release control. Another breath. I am safe to welcome love into my mind. Just sit with that for a moment. Let the words settle. Let them land. You don't have to fully believe them yet. Just allow them to exist, because even that is enough. And as you continue breathing, I want you to imagine something very gentle. Imagine your mind as a quiet room. A room that has been cluttered for a long time, not because you wanted it to be, but because things kept accumulating. Old thoughts, old fears, old stories. And now, instead of trying to clear everything out all at once, you simply open a window, just a little, and fresh air begins to enter. Light begins to touch the corners of the room. You don't rush. You don't force. You just allow. That's what love does, my dear. It doesn't overwhelm. It doesn't demand. It simply enters and transforms slowly, naturally, in its own time. And as that happens, something beautiful begins to unfold within you. You start to feel lighter, not because your life has suddenly changed, but because your relationship with your thoughts has changed. You are no longer trapped inside them. You are no longer defined by them. You are observing, choosing, softening, and in that space, miracles begin to feel possible again. Not distant, not imaginary, but quietly, gently, real. Fill your mind with love, not just when it feels easy, but especially in the quiet moments where you've been unconsciously holding yourself back from receiving it. Take a breath with me again, my dear. Slow, gentle, and honest. Because now we're going to look at something very tender. Not to judge it, not to fix it, but to finally understand it. You see, sometimes the reason love hasn't fully taken root in your mind isn't because you don't want it. It's because a part of you doesn't feel safe holding it. And I want you to just sit with that for a moment. What if the very thing you've been asking for, peace, love, ease, joy, has been right at the edge of your life, but something within you quietly tightens, hesitates, pulls back, just before it fully arrives, not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly, almost invisibly. This is what many people never notice. They think they are waiting for their life to change, but in truth, a part of them is resisting the change, not because they're broken, not because they're doing something wrong, but because their nervous system, their emotional memory, is still holding on to an old story, a story that says, it's not safe to relax. It won't last. Something will go wrong. Don't get your hopes up, and my dear, if that story is quietly running in the background, then even when love begins to enter, your system doesn't fully open to it. It braces, it prepares, it protects. So instead of receiving the moment, you monitor it. Instead of enjoying the peace, you question it. Instead of trusting the flow, you wait for it to break. And this, more than anything, is what blocks miracles. Not lack of desire, not lack of effort, but a quiet, conditioned resistance to receiving. So let me ask you something gently. Have there been moments, even small ones, where things started to feel good, and instead of relaxing into them, you felt a subtle tension, a voice that whispered, "Be careful, don't get too comfortable, something might change"? If that feels familiar, I want you to know you are not alone, and more importantly, there is nothing wrong with you. This is simply what happens when you've experienced disappointment, uncertainty, or emotional instability in the past. Your system learns to stay alert. It learns to expect change. It learns to protect you by keeping you slightly guarded, even in moments of potential joy. But here's the quiet truth. That protection is now limiting your ability to receive, and not because it's trying to hurt you, but because it hasn't yet learned that it is safe to let go. So this is where love becomes more than just a feeling. It becomes a practice, a gentle retraining of your inner world, not through force, but through consistency, through showing yourself again and again that it is safe to soften, safe to trust, safe to receive, without immediately bracing for loss. And I know that might feel unfamiliar at first, even uncomfortable, because your system is used to a certain level of tension, used to scanning for what might go wrong. So when things feel calm, your mind might try to create noise just to return to what feels normal. But this is where your awareness becomes powerful, because now, instead of unconsciously following that pattern, you can pause, you can notice it, and you can gently choose something different. Not perfectly, not all at once, but slowly, intentionally, with love. So the next time you feel that subtle resistance, that quiet tightening, I want you to do something very simple. Don't push it away. Don't analyze it. Just place your attention on your breath and softly say within yourself, "It's safe for me to receive this moment." Let the words be gentle. Let them feel like an offering, not a command. And then just stay with your breath. Allow your body to feel what it feels, without trying to rush it into calm, because safety is not something you force. It's something you build, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. And as you begin to do this, something beautiful starts to happen. Your system begins to trust you, not your circumstances, not external validation, but you, your presence, your awareness, your willingness to meet yourself with love. instead of pressure. And from that trust, a new kind of stability begins to form. Not the kind that depends on everything going perfectly, but the kind that comes from within. A quiet knowing that no matter what happens, you can hold yourself through it. And when that kind of stability is present, you no longer feel the need to guard every moment. You no longer feel the need to anticipate loss. You begin to relax into life instead of bracing against it. And this, my dear, is where miracles truly begin. Not as sudden, dramatic events, but as gentle shifts in your experience. You start noticing things you once overlooked, small moments of ease, unexpected kindness, opportunities that feel aligned instead of forced. And slowly, almost without realizing it, your life begins to feel different. Not because everything changed overnight, but because you did. Because your mind is no longer filled with tension, but with love, and love changes everything it touches. Now take a deep breath with me. And as you exhale, I want you to release something very quietly. Release the idea that you have to be fully healed to receive good things. Release the belief that you have to fix everything before life can flow. You don't. You really don't. You are allowed to receive love even while you're still growing. You are allowed to experience peace even while things are still unfolding. You are allowed to have moments of joy even if not everything is perfect. Let that sink in, because for so long you may have been holding yourself in a kind of waiting room, telling yourself, once I figure this out, then I'll relax. Once this happens, then I'll feel okay. But life doesn't work that way. Peace is not something you earn at the end of the journey. It's something you practice along the way. And the more you practice it, the more your life begins to reflect it back to you. So now, in this moment, I want you to gently place your attention on your heart and just feel no pressure, no expectation, just presence. And softly, quietly, repeat within yourself, I am open to receiving love. Take a breath. I am safe to experience peace. Another breath. I allow good things to come to me gently, naturally. Stay with that. Let the words settle. Let them soften the spaces within you that have been holding tension for so long. Because this is not about becoming someone new. This is about allowing yourself to finally receive what has always been available to you. Love, ease, connection, flow. It's all here, my dear. And it's not waiting for you to be perfect. It's simply waiting for you to open. So take one more slow breath. And as you exhale, just rest in this quiet understanding. You don't have to chase miracles. You become someone who allows them. And that changes everything.